Hey, everybody, and welcome to our live show every Friday at 5 o'clock Pacific. We thank you for joining us. It's August 27th. Of course, if you're new here, if you've already been here, you know the drill. But if you're new here, you can comment on whatever platform you're on. We'll see those comments, interact with us. We love doing that here on Fridays. And Chris, hi, glad you are here with us. And again, if you're listening to this audio version, we do this every Friday at 5. So join us live sometime. It's fun. But everybody, it's been a big week because Matt finished his first week at nursing school.
Well, before we get started, there is today's Chris's birthday. So,
Oh.
I was looking and I can't find him. I know I have some really old pictures because Chris and I used to do stuff together all the time, and I was looking for these pictures. We used to go kayaking, with our exes. But you know what? I don't care if it was with our exes. We had a great time, and so I was looking for some of those pictures, but I think they're on a backup drive. So I couldn't find them. But yes, happy birthday, Chris.
Happy
Love
birthday,
you.
Chris.
So happy. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And yes, I did come through my first week in nursing school. It was a little unnerving. The first morning, the first probably 30 minutes, I was probably the most stressed. I wasn't super stressed, but it was an eventful week. I didn't get to really talk to you too much about it.
Yeah.
So my classes are the lecture days on campus are Mondays and Tuesdays, it appears, and then lab days are Wednesdays and Thursdays. I was scheduled Tuesday, Wednesday. That was just what they handed me. And I said, okay. So what happens is I have 3 lecture classes, and those are all scheduled together. So I have a 4-hour class, 1 hour, and then another 1 hour. So from 8 to 12, 1 to 2, and 3 to 4. So I got there around 7:30 because we just have David drop me off at school. It's just easier not to deal with parking or anything. So I got there around 7:30. There's 3 other people sitting there, and they let us into the classroom, and we're all sitting all spread out, and you could feel the nerves. You could feel the tension. I do have 2 other classes. Technically, I have my lab day, which is when we learn skills and we practice them on the simulation. They're mannequins, but they are fully simulated. Like, they do things, they react, they respond. And it's the place where you also get these skills checked off by your professors that say, yes, you can do this when you go to your clinical site. Clinicals have been impacted by COVID. So my clinical day is Sundays. I'm supposed to be at the hospital or the site from 12 to 4 every Sunday. What's going to now happen is that the first 3 or 4 weeks, if you were scheduled in the morning section, you're going to actually be there from 6:30 in the morning to 3 for 3 weeks. And then the 3 week after that, the next group will be there for the next 3 weeks for 8 or 9 hours. And then everything else, you're doing Zoom activities, and the rest of it's on Zoom because it is on a Sunday, so the campus isn't open. So it's a little, and it's still subject to change because COVID is still raging through the ICUs, and I cannot care for COVID patients. That's in our contract. We do not care for COVID. Like, students do not, which I'm really glad for. I don't want to. Not that I have a problem caring for anybody, but I'm not experienced. Like, if something's going
wouldn't be
really
a
wrong,
good
that is not.
start off.
You don't. I'm not the person you want by choice. So Tuesday was just a very long day, a lot of moving around, learning a lot of new stuff. And then, of course, once they went over everything, we started lecture. That just jumps right into it. And then Wednesday, same thing. We had to be fitted for N95 masks, which I luckily, again, was on campus early. And I walked into the computer lab where they were doing the training for it. I thought they were just going to hand us a mask, make sure it fit right, and N95, and off we go. Because that's the one I'm going to take with me to the hospital. That is not what happened. It was like a 45-minute drama. They did like a full, like, put a bag over our head to make sure it was sealed right, everything. They failed a bunch of people. And yeah, it was a mess. And then because I went early, I was already 30 minutes late to class because they didn't tell us it was going to be this long. Luckily, there were instructors in the class with us who were also equally pissed about it. And they decided to just have everybody in lab, everybody on campus just are in the building come over. So the only people on campus right now are the first couple weeks is shut down to everybody but vendors and staff and the staff for like clinical, dental assisting, law enforcement,
Mm.
firefighters, like everybody taking those classes have to be on campus, and we're all in one building. We're it. Like nobody else. There's nobody else, and everybody's really good about wearing masks.
That's
Everybody's
good.
vaccinated. I did meet one student. He's retaking a course this semester, and I knew one of the students sitting there when I walked into this little space, and this other guy introduced himself to me as, "Oh, I don't wear masks," and I was like,
Oh
"Okay."
gosh.
That was his opener.
Wow,
There
what
is
an
a thing.
opener.
So my main lecture, which is 4 hours, is attached to my clinical class. So you have to pass both at the end, and you get moved to level 2. There's 4
Mhm.
semesters, and each one is a level, like 1 through 4, and you learn different things like what you can and can't do at clinical sites. So you kind of, I guess, level up. So at the end,
Yeah.
when you take your last couple tests, you get to be moved into level 2. If you don't pass that test, or if you don't pass your class, it's worth 10% of your grade. And if it drops you below a 75, you don't pass. You have to retake it.
Mm.
So even if you get 100% in clinical, if you don't get the 75 in the other class, you retake both. So I learned very quickly why at least two students were retaking classes just by listening to them talk. And then on Wednesday during lab, a student had a seizure. They are okay, but it caused the entire lab to be shut down because EMS had to be flagged down and called in. If there's a time you're going to have an emergency, the nursing
That
and
would be
allied
it,
health building is to
right?
do it. That is probably if it's going to have to happen. But apparently it's very unexpected. This was not a regular thing for him.
Wow.
But he's okay. He is totally okay. But it was just, it's already a hectic day because it was
Yeah.
a brand new day, and we were in the middle of, most of us had blood pressure cuffs on and our stethoscopes in because we were like learning to do blood pressure and take pulses and do stuff like that. So we're hearing people say, "Get out of the lab." But there's like 40 of us in this one space because multiple instructors had kind of put everybody together to try to give everybody the same instruction on the first day. Because, they're going, all of them have the same syllabus. All 5, 6, 7 instructors all teach all the classes. So all the syllabi are the same. All the classes are the same, just happen to be different instructors. And all the classes work together, which is nice. There's just so there is so much reading and a lot to take in. So I came home Tuesday and I think I had a migraine by the time an actual migraine by the time I got home, just from I was sitting up looking sideways at a board all day, plus trying to keep my eyes on everything. And it was an experience.
It
But
sounds like
yeah,
it.
it was
Goodness.
fun though. I'm glad the one student is okay. The good
Mhm.
news is the students that were there with him all reacted properly. Like they did all the right things. They secured the area. They called 911. Alerted all the right people,
Yeah.
and and all the instructors are, these are veteran RNs. These are not, oh, I got my RN last month and I'm teaching this class. No, these are pros, and so which was really good. It just was quite the day. Um, yeah. So I got home Wednesday night and I was like, okay, I Matt is a little done, but I got up Thursday and Friday. I got yesterday and today and just right to my books and making plans, printing out everything, organizing everything. You get kind of a week grace
Mhm.
period to kind of get your shit together, but after that you don't. And for my labs, even I can't come to class without there's a certain amount of work that has to be done and uploaded
Mhm.
before I can. Otherwise, I am not allowed to come to class. I will be sent home. It's like the preparation is extensive. But I will tell you what is off-putting is there's actually 18-year-olds in my group because they
Oh
were able to do
goodness.
their co-rec. They did their prereqs in high school.
Yeah.
They were like dual enrollment programs, but they already knew they wanted to be RNs or at least go for it. So they knew which they were already taking those in high school. So they got, they just graduated in May and they're walking into this. And I'm like, really? The one guy that actually responded to one of the one of the guys that responded to that other student, he was like, I just feel like I don't have a lot of, he's like, I feel like I don't have life experience because he's like, I'm only 18. I'm like, yeah, but you got the energy. And you did all the right things. Like you did great, So
I
I told
love
him like
that.
really the only one of the real benefits of not being 18 is that you don't get overwhelmed easily. Not really. We all joke about being like fried, tired, excited, or being crazy, but in reality, most of the time, most things don't make us. They're kind of like, eh. You just sort of deal with it. You've seen by
Hmm.
30 something, you've seen emergencies, you've seen people have seizures, you've seen people faint, people have bad things have happened. You've had some life experience. So, but it's it yeah, it was quite something for week one. Um, my clinical this Sunday, I was the afternoon group, so I will be on Zoom this
Hmm.
Sunday. The nice thing is I have the same instructor for two of my classes, and my
That's
other
always
instructor
nice.
for my third lecture, she's also my clinical instructor.
Hmm.
So it's nice, and they all have their
Yeah.
specialties. My primary instructor is a psych nurse. So the examples she uses all come from mental health and from some of the hardest places to work. So it's a lot easier to connect it because it's not like, oh, well, you got them a band-aid and this was this low stress area. Like she's seen really awful things and she knows how to connect it to the material without traumatizing you. She's trying to teach you. And
Yeah.
it's nice being able to actually like it makes sense. Like it goes with what you're learning. It's not like when you're taking prereqs and you're taking a history class and then you have to change gears 15 minutes later and get into
Yeah.
chemistry. So I've been dying to tell you this all week. I
I
just have
know.
we
He's
haven't
just been
really
busy.
talked.
I know.
Right. Well, I also I've managed to maintain my sleep schedule, not my gym schedule. I have been sleeping right through the night. So I'm not really I go to sleep between 9:30 and 11 and I wake up at 6:45 and by then it's too late for David to make it to the gym and I'm already like okay, I need to start my work. But I also feel a lot better. I had some minor strains and pulls that I feel like in the last couple of days finally have like fully healed up that have been kind of hindering me for probably 6-8 weeks. So
Mm, that's
it
good.
was I usually take about a week off every so often, like completely just to heal up. But I went and got a real haircut. Like
I was gonna
that
say,
was like an
does anybody
event.
notice anything different?
Yeah. And a
Look at
bunch of my
Matt,
hair has grown
everybody.
back too. If you saw, I mean, I showed you guys the difference. So it was nice getting a real haircut.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you had a a long but pretty good first week. Uh
Yeah,
and
it's actually not
you're
over. As soon as we're done, I'm on the laptop that I work on. I literally as soon as I'm done, I'm picking it up, carrying it back to my desk,
oh
and
goodness.
working on some more stuff. But good news, David is going to be sitting still for me to practice doing my blood pressure stuff on him. So
Uh-oh.
I make sure.
How
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
How
how exciting,
cute.
right? Hi,
I did
Salem.
love Salem decided to join. He's been such a much better cat recently. I'm not really sure what's going on. I was gonna. Oh, and then you just completely fell off, dude. You didn't judge that right. Here, you're gonna unpull cords if you're not careful. He still is not getting used to the judging on when there is where he's gravity. He doesn't realize it. I was gonna say it's kind of funny when you were talking about David dropped you off. It's like he's your dad.
Yeah.
Daddy dropped him off.
Yes, Daddy David dropped me off to school. It was easier.
Oh, I like that,
Um
Daddy David.
I have never called him that, not ever. One, I'm 5 years older than him, so there's that. But um, yeah, it was just easier him dropping me off rather than fighting
Yeah.
with parking. And I don't like to leave campus during the day anyway. And there are
Mm,
things I can eat that are real food,
yeah.
and so that was nice. And also I try to make myself make friends with people.
It's always the hardest thing for me. I never made a lot of friends in college because like I always went, did my thing, participated in class, fine. If there was group projects, fine, whatever. I didn't do anything else. Like,
Yeah, and well, we've already been encouraged, make friends because there's 113 of us total in the whole program. That's
mhm.
everybody that walked in the doors for fall one and a couple of the people that are retaking, they're participating some in the class.
Yeah.
So most of us, they've encouraged us to, make a study group, make sure you're getting all this work done, these practices, quizzing each other. You want to, stay ahead. Like they want us to stay a week ahead on the reading so that you're never one, make sure you're never behind and way less of
Hmm.
a chance of messing up something. I'm a really fast reader, and even for me, and luckily I took pharmacology, I've taken pathophysiology, I have a
Yeah.
background in injury, so I know what a lot of this stuff is. Just certain concepts are very difficult. Um, Nursing is now taught in concepts as opposed to just read this, memorize that, and then go to clinical and learn what to do with it, and then your labs. It's
Yeah.
divided up all into concepts, so which is easier because it helps all the classes kind of like gel together. But
For
week
sure.
one, until you're trying to find that routine and also how you're going to sleep, period. Because I have slept. But let's see, it's 7:20 here in San Antonio. I will be in 2 hours. I'll be laying in bed, either asleep or mostly asleep. As I'm sure everybody's noticed, I have not been on
I know. I was
active in
gonna
the
say,
evenings. Nobody's getting texts from me.
not even I've been getting text to everybody. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
I have to
you
put
know,
so to
it's
manage my
understandable.
ADHD, the way you manage it is the best way is diet, exercise, and good sleep. And that's already a challenge for me. So for me to manage it, I have to put my phone in airplane mode and turn off everything else. I've disabled FaceTime. The only person that ever FaceTimes me honestly is my niece or Steven. Um, and I always answer them, but everybody's used to me kind of just being available, and I'm not now. So I signed out of messages I turned it on just for this so that we can all communicate and I can be active during when we do podcast stuff because I
Hmm.
want to make sure I'm active because it's good, it's healthy and fun. But when I'm done, I have to be able to shut down, disconnect all those things, turn off my phone so I can work, and I've turned off all communication on my laptop, so nothing can like get to me. Like because
Matt
it's really
is
easy for your brain to wander. I mean, one of my reading assignments by itself was 48 pages. The very
yeah.
next one for the same class was 26 pages. Then I had four more that were like 4 or 5 pages each for different concepts that I'm making notes on. That's one class. I have four others.
Well,
They did say this semester is the hardest because I have 5 total classes, including
that's
because beside within my clinical, I also have to do classwork for the clinical. Like I have other stuff to do for it and a lot of it. So they did say after this semester, it's not easy per se. It just you're focusing on 3 classes in a clinical rather than 5 classes plus going to clinical.
yeah.
So
Well,
and
at least there's that.
right. So I'm like, okay, December 11th. Are we there? So
Well, I
I'm
hope.
I'm currently sitting in my coffee and crying corner. This is where we do the podcast for me. So I might be crying by next week. We'll see. Stay tuned.
Well, I hope everything continues to go well for your thing, and of course, we will continue to get updates from Matt
Yeah,
on
I'm
nursing,
sure you
the
will.
nurse checkup. I'm also glad
Whether
that
you had the nurse checkup.
that's what we're
That's
calling
funny.
it, nurse checkup. But I'm glad Matt is doing all this work because I would not be doing it. I would not want to go back to school. It's a lot of stuff, but I really need a nurse. So
Why? So you don't listen to him either?
I'm just I listen to you like 50% of the time.
No. Oh my god. If it's 50%, I'll bottom.
Y'all, that's already happening.
Yeah.
So Keith, hey, glad
Turns
that
out
you are
Cody knows how to
here.
do temp checks.
We're glad you're joining us, Keith. And then Chris did like the nickname Daddy David. I think that's a Daddy David. It works. And then Chris talks about how the iPhone Do Not Disturb has been amazing for me getting some sleep. I don't ever have Do Not Disturb on, but I get notifications for all of our cameras, and so sometimes it'll pick up like a car driving by or like the tree branch moving or whatever, and they'll just be buzzing all night. It does not wake me up, and it does not wake Justin
Been
up
driving.
necessarily. But when Justin is like getting up or like kind of waking up for the morning, he'll just hear and see my phone just going bzz, bzz. bzz, bzz, bzz. And he's like,
It's
oh
all
my
those
gosh.
nudes all those boys are sending.
Sending
So
them
I sleep with
all.
earplugs in. I take a melatonin, put my earplugs in, in about 10 minutes. And that's kind of like my decompression time where I just stretch out. And at that point, I'm not
Mhm.
responding to text messages. I'm reading articles and stuff that I want, like fascinating things that I think are fascinating that have nothing to do with the rest of the world. And then I sleep.
Well,
But
I'm glad that
yeah.
you put that little time for you. You were talking
Well,
about the other day that you
I put
did
my phone
game a
on
little bit.
silence. I put my phone is on silent and has been since probably 2008. So my phone doesn't
Yeah.
make ticks when I text. I get no, but it does not buzz. It does not. Well, I see the flash sometimes of it lighting up, but I don't care. That I can ignore, but
Yeah.
nothing. No alerts because I've always been afraid of being in some weird place, and you cannot trust people. You can I got a text from so and so. Opens it up. Well, that's a penis. Yeah.
I saw
Sorry, everyone in
we,
Starbucks.
we were at Costco earlier, and when we were in there was this couple, the young couple, and their moms, both their moms with them, and they were like getting like some pots and pans or something. And there was a guy there like kind of selling the pots and pans. It was like one of those things. And the
Yeah.
moms were like, yeah, they just got married. They just got married. And then, obviously making a big deal. And then the couple's kind of just like embarrassed and like, oh, okay. And but then when we were going outside and we were about to drive away, they must have been parked very close by, because there was a truck, and on the window it said, let's see, hang on, because I want to say this right.
Oh
So on the
God, please
mirror,
don't let it be something cringy.
on the window, they had written with a chalk marker, a heart, same penis forever.
No. Oh my God,
I loved
why?
it. I loved it. I'm good.
Ooh.
When I visit Matt and David, I'm gonna write that on their vehicle, and then we're just gonna drive around town.
Oh,
And the
that's
people are gonna
great.
get confused. They're gonna be like, "Wait, what? There's three people, and they're guys? Like what?" But I thought that was funny. But real quick, everybody, we had our second episode this past Wednesday, and we talked about gay voice, which is a really good topic. If
Yeah.
you have not checked that out, be sure and check that out. But here is like a little clip of kind of what we talked about this week, to kind of give you a little teaser to make you want to listen to it if you haven't. So I have a question, Matt. In our conversations all the time, do you think I sound gay?
Am I allowed? I mean, we're just being playful, but it really does exist. Growing up, of course, I heard about my gay voice. I heard about how effeminate I sounded, and that I should change that.
Like what we say is, we'll say, quote, gay voice. It's not really a real thing if you actually look at it.
Right.
It's a stereotype. Sometimes you can have straight men who do talk more effeminate, and sometimes you can have gay men talk very, what we would say, straight talk. What we say is the gay voice, I guess. When you like study it, it has like lots of S's, sometimes a lot of over exaggeration in the speaking, and then also a lot of enunciation is what they have found in researching that.
We kind of run, some people more are like the intersection of masculine and feminine, right? I think that as we get older, we're more comfortable with not sounding as masculine, so we're comfortable just being ourselves. And I think a lot more people are, I don't want to say, I think it's more normal to sound at a mix of masculine and feminine versus all the way one or the other.
Speak the way you want, don't change your voice, dress the way you want, be yourself, be proud of it. And I think that's an exciting thing. So if you have not seen that episode, be sure to go back, and there's a video version too. You can watch us. We do play a game, some of our favorite things, and so you'll be able to watch that. And then I think we talk about something where you have to be able to see what we said. So that's of course on YouTube, and of course wherever you get podcasts. It was a really good conversation. I did enjoy it. But me and Matt did have other conversations this week. When we did have the conversation, they were very small, but one of them was this one. And so he sent me this picture of the cake and was like,
oh yeah,
this is what I'm making. And look at that, guys. It's so beautiful. And of course, I'm just like, oh, this is so good. And then he put drizzled chocolate all over it. Like, what, everybody?
Yeah,
I
I
wanted
really
some.
I made that. I did that. Yay. So
I
David made
wanted
the request. That's what so David's favorite like snack thing is Swiss
hmm
rolls, but obviously when you buy them now they taste awful. And but when I asked him what he wanted for his cake, that was his request. So I learned how to do all of it. And so yeah, that was what I
So
was most
now,
scared about was breaking it. And it turned out I'm very critical of my work. There's been many things I've made that were like straight up I was not happy with. But
Keith
this
says the
I
cake was amazing. Keith, lucky. You should
yeah,
have
Keith was
seen
here for
how
it.
the work he put into it. So now that means, Matt, that you can make that pumpkin roll that I
Yes.
made
Um
last year.
yeah, you sent me the recipe for it. I thought Dave was gonna because he loves pumpkin rolls. I don't think I've ever had one. So I was really worried when I made the cake. I was afraid that I didn't put enough filling in it so that when I cut it, but they tell you to cut the ends off for decoration, and we didn't because we're like, why? That's more cake to eat. So,
I
but when
only
we actually
cut
cut it,
I only cut one
um,
end off and then I take a photo of it. But yeah, don't waste that.
yeah, I didn't actually take the picture until we'd already cut some of it to eat because we cut off the edges and ate them. Well, we weren't gonna like toss that; it's still cake, but it worked out super well, and yeah, it was really exciting. So that was for David's birthday. His birthday was last Sunday. Yeah, last Sunday.
I loved Matt did send me some photos. I don't know if you posted, but you sent me a photo of y'all eating like cake pops. And I was like,
Oh,
it was like the whole cake pop was in y'all's mouth. And I was like, what?
it was
Because
on
my thing,
Snapchat.
okay,
It was
my
my
thing was like,
Snapchat.
that's
Yeah.
how you eat cake pops. And I asked Justin later, I was like, how would, he's never had a cake pop, but I was like, how would you eat a cake pop? And he was like, I would assume you stick the whole thing in your mouth. I was like, no. So I
I'm
like
always
think
afraid I'm gonna
I,
bite the stick. So I don't intend but you watch David eat it and he just like attacked it.
I think
If
my
I
response
didn't
was
realize I caught him
savage.
squeal because some of it like fell out of his mouth. So he squealed and it got picked up on the camera, which made me laugh really hard.
Uh,
Yeah.
Chris says, in reference to the Swiss roll, that the Swiss roll looks good. I love Swiss rolls. And then Chris also says, I'm a bad gay. I've never had a cake pop. I really love cake pops. And the thing is, you can make them
I've
at
only had a few
home.
in my whole life.
Uh,
I that is actually my next baking project is cake pops. I've
so the
never made
great thing
them.
that you can, well, this is making a lot more desserts, but you can make a cake and then you can obviously cut off like the tops to make them level, and then you
Hmm.
can use that extra cake to make the cake pop, or you can just do it all as once and make a cake uh, and crumble it and make a cake pop that way. Because I don't, probably no one needs a cake and cake pops, but I love
Huh.
cake pops because they're so moist, so moist. Yes, Matt.
Yay, it wasn't me.
Well, I don't even know what I said. What did I
It sounded
say?
like you said cake cocks.
Well, probably got all
Oh
mixed
god,
up
I
in
hope it's
there.
on the playback. That's gonna make the season 3 blooper reel.
I'll have to go back
uh,
and check that.
all
Uh,
right.
check that out then and see. And then Keith says, Cody, I will make sure he makes the pumpkin roll. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds delicious. So yeah, this is the pumpkin roll. It's a really delicious thing. Basically, it's the same premise as uh, the Swiss roll, except that it's cream cheese in the middle and a pumpkin cake on the outside.
So the
And
Swiss roll I made was a cream cheese frosting. It was a homemade
so,
cream cheese frosting. So there was a
so,
cream cheese in a chocolate cake.
so basically, you just are switching up the cakes then. Pumpkin cake for a chocolate cake. But it's a really delicious cake. And well, if you want the recipe, you can go to my website, codyrodriguez.com. A little plug there. So we also, in our talking, we did talk about this one thing. Matt texted me this
Oh
thing.
God, what?
Love
Oh,
Island makers say LGBT contestants bring logistical difficulties. And then he's like, I need you to call me logistically difficult from now on. And of course, Matt, you're so logistically difficult. I love
yeah.
that
Well, I
conversation.
can't really argue that. I sent that to my niece as well, and I told her that from now on in all family meetings, I want to be referenced as logistically difficult.
Logistically difficult, Matt. You're just like,
Yeah. Well, I saw it on Twitter. Somebody also was like, "Are you straight or are you just logistically difficult?" It made me laugh, so I saved it and sent it to you and my niece because she thinks it's. Sometimes I think she thinks I'm funny sometimes. But the funny thing
well,
is her dad and older sister are respectively gay and lesbian. So,
oh,
she is just like surrounded. And
yeah.
so like her uncle, two other aunts, like my sister's other two half sisters from a different dad, are
Mhm.
lesbians. So my niece's gay card is just like chock full. And
I
it's
love
like the
that.
LGBT family bingo, And we're kind of like playing coverall at this point. And yeah. So she's totally winning. But but you know what?
Yeah,
She's got a great sense of style. My nephew is always a stylish little guy, and so it's been a good influence. I think we've all had a good influence on her.
that's
When you
good.
said that, I was like, "What else did I text you?" Because I
I
don't
know
really remember. I think
those
it's
are
the
like
only things I sent you.
the two things that we talked
Well,
about were
oh
Love
no, we
Island
yeah.
and then you did send me some photos. You did send me photos of you in your
Oh
nursing
yeah, in my gear, yeah.
gear.
Like actually like stethoscope and everything. Um, well, the other night you texted and asked what I was doing, and I said I'd finally disconnected from everything and I was playing video games for a little bit, and I was playing World War Z because nothing helps me disconnect from the real world like mowing down the undead. This is something that I think very stress relieving.
I mean, right? I
Yeah, and I love playing with like children who are probably the people behind the other players that are totally just destroying me. Yeah,
well,
it's great.
it's good that you in all of your busyness still found a little time to play a few
Yeah, it
games.
was about 45 minutes to an hour. I just
It's pretty good.
disconnected. Yeah. I will probably tonight like an hour before I go to bed, just totally I have to
Yeah.
cut it off because it's very easy. I don't know how y'all are with school and projects. I can get wrapped up, and not just school. I'm this way with the podcast, writing. I can be very like, there's a reason Cody and I would be discussing this at 2 a.m., because once I'm on it, like if you get my attention to it, it's just like dog with a bone,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, there are some news headlines we want to just real quick go over, and one of those being that we may be getting booster shots more quickly than we had thought. So the news has changed so quickly over the last like week. At one point, it was they were going to recommend 8 months. They were going to get a booster shot. Then all of a sudden, it was 6 months, and now just today, they may be going to announce on Labor Day that you will get a booster shot in 5 months. They already did approve the 6 months. And so now it's looking like by Labor Day, they may
Jeez,
increase it
if it's
or
at
lower it
five
to five
months,
months.
I can get vaccinated on Saturday. Or wait, what's today? The 27th. I can get vaccinated on Monday. Which you know what I will do? I will trot my happy ass down to Walgreens and I will go get a vaccination. I'll get a
Yeah.
booster shot, and I will feel like absolute shit on Monday night, and probably some of my lecture on Tuesday. Because why? It's the right thing to do.
It
And you
is
know
the
what?
right
Every one
thing
of my
to do.
classmates is vaccinated, and I'm very proud of them.
That's so
Um,
good.
do you know what
Uh,
we talked about? Our very first lectures we're talking about.
mhm.
One was comfort. That was the opening lecture for one class. The other one, immunity.
Oh,
We
wow.
talked about
Good topics.
immunity and how it works. And I was like waiting for somebody to say something really stupid because this is not the class. This class ranges from 18 to probably 40s. And
Yeah.
so this is just not the time for people to um throw out that nonsense. So if they are feeling that way, they've kept it quiet.
Well, that's good.
Oh, Keith and Chris also heard you say Kate Cox. Chris says, I can see Matt screaming at the kid on the other end of the video game to go cry to their mommy. I am very nice. I do not, my microphone is always off. I do not interact. Um, I'm, I don't, I'm not an aggressive, I can be competitive, but only when it's actually something serious, and I don't consider a video game serious. Not that
Serious.
certain
Yeah.
games haven't brought out the rage, but y'all would never see that because I'm an adult and keep it to myself. Quinn,
Well,
I'm
one
just
day we're
waiting for
gonna.
Daddy Pfizer to tell me when and give me that bump of vaccine.
Yes. Yes. I can't wait till David is a full nurse, and then we could have Daddy David giving us the Daddy Pfizer vaccine.
So David
But
starts nursing classes in January. He did not get off the alternate list, but for his school, if you do not get off the alternate list, you are guaranteed a slot in the next round. His school is
well,
incredibly competitive. It's the one I did not get into. I got waitlisted and ultimately didn't
yeah.
get in. And so that I'm
Well,
sure will be. I'm kind of glad he's starting. So he'll graduate at the same time as me because it's an
oh, that's good.
accelerated program. Yeah, so we're still on the same track to graduate at the same time. But he will graduate with a bachelor's in nursing, and I'm sure he will be very calm and not stressed at all from January 21 until spring of 23. I'm sure
I
he will
know.
be
We'll have to send all your thoughts during that
totally.
time.
Yeah. Don't forget the
uh,
prayers. And speaking of
prayers and thoughts.
prayers, oh,
Well,
excellent.
just real
Go ahead.
quick on that vaccine, that we're basically doing this because data from Israel shows that a booster provides 4 times as much protection. Now, the Dominican Republic, Hungary, Germany, and other countries have already begun administering booster shots or close to considering it. Pfizer did say on Wednesday that a booster dose of its vaccine provides a 3-fold increase in neutralizing antibodies. So
Go get
I'm ready
it.
for it. I'm ready for it.
Yep.
Give me
I'm
the
ready for it.
vaccine as quick as possible. We
Let's
actually
do it.
on Facebook, like arguing with people, and so
What?
someone posted on one of the theater pages. They're doing the musical Hair. It's done outside, but they're requiring vaccines, proof of a test, and no matter what, you have to wear masks. And someone commented like, "Well, I'm not going to go see a show there anymore. You just lost my business," basically like that. Every comment afterwards were like, "Well, I'm sure they're not going to hurt for your business, considering the shows are basically almost sold out." And then everyone's like, "Well, we feel way more safer that they're doing this. We're glad they're doing this." So yeah, go get the
Right.
vaccine, wear your mask, be safe.
Right.
Wait, I've been
Getting the
telling people.
vaccine and mask and continue on about your day. There's nobody stopping you. Like, it is not once we were able to kind of go outside, like go out in public again, and it just required masks and a shot. Okay, bye, done. I mean,
I know.
all these people are pretending they're way more social than they are. Come on now. I know. I read Twitter. I know most people really are like canceled plans. Thank God. And they're like shimmying their way back to their bed, taking off their clothes, climbing back onto the couch for a Saturday night. So don't lie. You know,
Yeah.
own it.
Just it's like just be cordial I've been telling this now to people on Facebook, basically like asking like, do you want a kid to die? Like basically it's like, just take care of your friends, family, neighbors, and kids, and this is how you can do it. I don't care about all this nonsense, but you're just crazy. Chris
Well,
says, I wonder if the people around here are getting a booster, if the stupid idiots that haven't had one yet are finally getting one because everyone around them are dying. uh, just to jump in, people I've seen sitting waiting. I think it's probably a mix of both. I do
right.
know there's some people I've seen who've went ahead and got the third dose or were up for it, because they
Well,
got
there
it
is a
early
story
on.
from a place here in Texas, Cody, that you'd be very familiar, which I'm not going to state it because I don't want to put you out there. But there is a very young, healthy dad of 3 who now has COVID, and I'm sure you've heard of this story. You know which one I'm talking about.
I
He
believe
has
so.
it. He's not doing well, and now his wife and family, and they have 3 young kids, and all of them are now they have a GoFundMe, and they need help.
And I believe she's pregnant.
Yeah, I think she's pregnant. Baby's due very soon, like next month, and it's like, and he's not doing well at all. And holy crap, here we are.
Yeah, and the thing about it
Yeah.
is a lot of people posting and
And this was a
conversating
young,
about
healthy
this.
person. And there's another one, Cody. You'll love this. So my very evangelical sister hosts a family lunch, kind of like with another big family, and
Mm-hmm.
they put a pause on it during COVID because obviously when everyone started getting sick, everything happened really fast. So everybody, it seemed like more people listened at first. They complained, but they went with it. Well, they don't believe in vaccines, the other family, and the family now all have all but one of their children, their adult children, tested
Mm-hmm.
positive for COVID a few days ago. So I'm not putting out any names because I don't want to like. I'm not trying to bring out that kind of because that doesn't help. You're either going to go get it or you're not. There are people sitting in the ICU stating it's still their freedom to not get it, and I'm like,
Or they're in the ICU saying, "This isn't real." Like,
like I can't
someone
even
I've been
fucking
seeing a lot of people
understand.
saying it's not real, and I'm like, what are you talking? Like, is all this crisis actors, and somehow all these doctors, hospitals, and people in charge are keeping this gigantic secret, and it's not leaked out? Wow, this would be the biggest secret of
It's like
all
96% of
time.
physicians are vaccinated. And those are the people you kind of, and these are the people that like actually work in hospitals and clinical settings.
Well,
So,
and then when people get sick, where do they go? Oh, they go to the doctor. Those same
right.
doctors that are telling them to
And
get the vaccine.
like Chris said, he got the Johnson and Johnson at the time. Of course, as we didn't know, and I don't think anybody expected for so many people to not get it. Like I think we all just wanted it to so be over. And it seems like a lot. We're all gonna have to go get booster shots or have to go get a extra dose, no matter which shot you got. But
Yeah.
but there was some other things that have happened that were positive. And if we all need to go get boosters, we're all going to go do it. You heard it here. Cody and I obviously support vaccination.
Yes.
But in other news regarding, we talk a lot about how the last couple years, the trans community has been just an absolute punching bag for um, litigation and laws and just generally legal attacks. So the Biden
Mhm.
administration officials have told trans youth, your rights at schools matter and you matter. So the message is also for states and schools, warning them that the Biden administration will investigate anti-LGBTQ discrimination this school year. The Biden administration has also showed it's willing to fight legal battles for trans youth. It's filed briefs in 2 states asking courts to overturn anti-transgender laws that it says are unconstitutional and violate federal laws like Title IX, which bans discrimination in education. And our next topic, because we talked a lot, things that always come up for attack are one in general, the LGBTQ community in general. If you ever ask anybody, the first thing that comes up when you have like the church going beloved screaming about Jesus is that the fucking gays have done it again. Um, I think it's like the anti-gay pastor blaming all the floods on the gays, and then I think he like died in a flood, and I'm like, huh, interesting. But so we have things like the sex workers and trans people are always up. It just seems like they are the first two groups, followed by um like in our community, I mean, and
Yeah.
especially trans people of color, sex workers in general. Like these are like,
Well, and
oh my god, it's
the
always
sad th-
attacking black people and everybody else in the community too. And I'm like, they really just reach to attack a subgroup of a subgroup of a subgroup. Like, why? Like, stop. Damn. They keep just reaching harder and harder and harder. And luckily, it does seem the Biden administration is pushing back against some of this. Of course, there's always more to be done. And
yeah.
speaking of sex workers, Cody, did you see? So we all know about OnlyFans. We talked about a little bit
Yeah.
last week, but did you see what happened next?
Yeah, it's like the story that just keeps turning about. And basically, OnlyFans is reversing its ban. Last week, of course, they announced that they were banning sexually explicit content October 1st. Then there was a lot of anger, confusion, sex workers speaking out. Over $1 billion would be lost potentially with this. Then they tweeted, thank you to everyone for making your voice heard. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community. Suspended the planned October policy change. OnlyFans stands for inclusion, and we will continue to provide a home for all creators. Of course, it seems that all of this happened because there was talk at one point that they were trying to get investors, but it seems it may have come down to these credit card companies and the power that they hold of not wanting to process payments. And OnlyFans is based in the UK. And like we mentioned last week, the BBC had just come out with a whole big expose on OnlyFans and some of the, I mean, honestly, bad things that they were doing are not trying to make it more secure and safe for people. And they kind of just blew it off. And I think it was kind of a mix of like the credit card companies then like hit them hard. Like, well, if you're doing what was in this report, we can't, be processing your payments. And I guess obviously
It
people have
was
come together and made a decision. It's one of those things that's tough because, having a credit card company say, oh, we are not going to process your payments because it makes it look bad. It's hard to do business then. It's really kind of like in the marijuana, the cannabis business, how a lot it's hard to get money for cannabis because it's still considered illegal. And so banking institutions usually don't lend out money, and so you have to find investors from out other places. So it's one of those things that, yeah, sex workers just get hit hard with the perceptions that people place upon that. When it's just work, people are still just making a living. I mean, there was a nurse in the UK I saw, or he's like in the medical field doing something, and then he kind of like stopped doing that and started just doing OnlyFans because he was making way, way, way more money. And so, for some people, they're making a lot of money. And especially during COVID, this has been a great thing when people were staying at home that they could still make money and survive
right.
since. But
Quinn
yeah,
says,
it's,
well, now that people have lost a large percentage of their subscribers in the week when it was going to end, the damage is already done. I wish OnlyFans a very happy bankruptcy. It's wild. It was wild to me how, okay, so you had all these things happen. Okay, so this report comes out and says you're doing all these things and we're not comfortable with it. Well, so the first thing you do, instead of trying to make it safer and enforce some guidelines that would make everybody safer and protect people's content and their subscribers and creators and content creators as well, you just kick sex workers to the curb. Wow. These are these people go home and jerk off to, porn and whatever. And I'm
yeah,
like, well, that's rude. Well, that's just fucking
yeah.
rude. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're
ugh,
never going to know the whole
gross.
story, but
Well,
if
probably
some
not.
of what the BBC was reporting is true, a lot of it lays on the hands of OnlyFans themselves for not, keeping things in order for sex workers to be able to legitimately do things, because
Right.
the legitimate work isn't what was being talked about in this expose report. It was some of the things that were considered a little bit more risque, uh, and like child porn type stuff. So
Right.
hopefully they'll for the people who are staying on OnlyFans, which I think will still be a large percentage now, because it's people don't like jumping around to different places, and so hopefully they've worked things out and they'll deal with whatever problems they were dealing with, and that these credit card companies won't then in turn come in and try to run things just because it's sex work, you know. But some other good news, Matt, was the Olympics, the Paralympics started on Tuesday,
Yes, it
and
did.
we saw a record number during the regular Olympics of athletes, and the Paralympics are seeing a record number. Uh, there's at least 28 out and proud Paralympic participants. That's more than 3 times the number of Olympians that were in the Rio Olympics in 2016. There's at least 8 countries that are represented by members of the team LGBTQ. I think we need our own team. But the nations bring more than one Paralympian to Tokyo are the United States, Great Britain, with 9 athletes each, and then Canada with 3, Australia, Germany, Brazil with 2. So we'll have more on the Paralympics, because uh, I've seen a few clips and it's so inspiring to watch. And I'm glad that we're increasing that numbers. That obviously, if you look at those countries, they're pretty big countries. Obviously, some of these smaller countries where it's not legal to be gay, and if you do it, it could be death. Obviously, um, still work to be done there uh, with some of these countries. Yes, Matt. Did I say something?
E- yeah. I think you merged a few things.
Well,
Yeah, I
if
think
it
you
need,
merged.
If you'd like to clarify
Well,
whatever I said.
Oh God, I wish we were alive right now.
I have no idea what I said, Matt.
Okay, so you were talking about how some of the countries are sending more than one athlete, which is good because a lot of countries aren't really well funded to help the Paralympics, or they don't really promote it or do a lot with it. Whereas some of the other countries, like the U.S., Canada, Brazil, Germany, etc., are sending more. And then the next thing you said was, and then about being gay, and in some places not really legal, and it totally just I was just like,
Well, I mean, it
the
will get
way
you killed in some countries.
the way it kind of flowed in, it just kind of was like, oh.
Remember, it's my gay voice. Everything goes together. I speak quickly and fast. And then really quick, going back, Chris had talked about talking about the OnlyFans. Agreed, but they will find a new platform to switch to. It will never end. Yeah, there's obviously tons of other platforms that people can jump
Yes,
to.
that's true.
Not as big, so that's why I think OnlyFans has been able to. They'll be able to survive this. It'll be fine, as long as nothing else comes back up.
I think a lot of people are pulling away from their OnlyFans. I'm gonna go ahead and take the opportunity to say pulling out of OnlyFans. Thank you. I'll be here all week.
I need a soundboard.
No, you really don't. And to switch to Just for Fans, because OnlyFans just literally just showed their ass right there and was like, "Whoop, yeah, bye guys, see ya."
Yeah.
And now they're going, "Oh shit, oh no." So,
I will say, if Just for Fans, you needs to make sure all of their stuff is, where it should be, because I feel like there will be news organizations now looking into Just for Fans, making sure they're following everything that should be followed.
well, there are some Just for Fans issues too, and we are not going to get too into it because it could be along. But the creator of Just for Fans has been accused of sexual assault a couple times, and there are several stories out on it. I've read several of them, and yeah. So keep that in mind. There are things out there. There is no saint walking around right now between the two. So I understand people moving to that platform because but the creator is still the sole owner of it, if I remember correctly. So he's the one profiting off this work. But I also understand that people don't have a lot of place to go. So there needs to be another platform built where, people can go, where the creators aren't trying to use them for money or their bodies, or also being charged with sexual assault.
Well, and
or accused of assault. And so, yeah. But we can do another story on that next week. There's just a lot happening, but I don't want to promote off Just for Fans itself like it's like the beacon of hope for sex and content creators to go to, because there are some issues there, and there's a lot of people are not even aware of that story did not get highlighted. And also, this is a very I'm looking at the story. This is also a very phallic episode. Because so Cody, I love that you put this in here. Did you know? Because I don't like hot dogs. Did you know that?
I think we've talked about it before.
So I hate hot dogs. But a hot dog shaves 36.
What has the internet?
Did you really?
Sound effects.
Cody and I did not get to really record this week, so he's just having like a party with me right now, I think. So do you want me to I'm just gonna redo that.
Hot dogs.
A hot dog shaves 36 minutes off life, a study says.
When you put it in your mouth, your life.
Come on. Researchers at the University of Michigan released a peer-reviewed study last week claiming that eating a single hot dog can take 36 minutes off of a human's life. In contrast, the study found that eating nuts could add 26 minutes to someone's lifespan. Oh god, interesting. I might need to eat more nuts to go back in time, tweeted 13-time Nathan's hot dog eating contest champion Joey Chestnut. Come on. Who owns the world record for eating 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. And by this by the study's calculation would have lost 1 year and 15 minutes of his life for consuming his estimated 19,200 hot dogs over 16 years.
That's a lot of hot dogs.
God, Cody,
19,000.
I am never reading one of your stories again. Not ever. I'm done. I'm going to be in my dressing room.
You know,
going to my trailer.
I'll have to pull some of my clips when I was in TV because I would write scripts and then my anchors would read them, and sometimes they would read them cold, and then it's coming up and they're just having to read. Yeah,
like
but when you're saying that, I didn't even realize that eating the hot dogs will take off lights, but the nuts will increase your lifespan. So actually the study, when they talked about it, is kind of informing people not like that if you're going to eat the hot dog you're going to die, but that making more healthy choices. And so like nuts can be a healthy choice of food versus like a hot dog. And so that's kind of the idea behind this study, is what you put in your body can dictate how long you're going to live. We do have a lot of clips, Matt, of you putting things in your mouth, though. So we maybe have to do a study. Can we do a peer-reviewed study, everybody, and see if the things that are put in Matt's mouth increases his lifespan or decreases it? Quinn says, that hot dog nuts fact has a crude gay joke in it about being immortal, but I won't bother tonight.
Oh, God.
Well, Matt, and some other gay internet buzzing news, Lil Nas X is going to be appointed the Chief Impact Officer of Taco Bell, and this was the big announcement.
Hold up, are you dreaming on a talk show with Lil Nas X? Boom. Enough about me. Let's talk about Lex. Are you seeing this? There's no reason to wake up. You're slaying the stage together. But wait, crispy bacon and fluffy eggs might just be better. There's only one delicious reason to wave the perfect dream farewell. The sooner you wake, the sooner you'll get toasted breakfast burritos. Only at Taco Bell.
I love it. Okay, but I love Taco Bell breakfast, but I thought it was going to be like Taco Bell in general, and I was like, so he's a top?
Right, that joke I was seeing on Twitter. Yeah, so he was appointed the Chief Impact Officer of Taco Bell, and he's going to be there helping partner with them. It's going to kind of be in collaboration with his debut album Montero that's going to be coming out. Some new menu items. Of course, breakfast coming back. I didn't even know breakfast went away, but he did tweet, life has come full circle. I officially work at Taco Bell again, because that's on the back of him having previously worked at Taco Bell when he lived in Atlanta. And that was about 5 years ago that he was working at Taco Bell, actually. Just imagine things changing in 5 years. He went from Taco Bell in Atlanta to this gay icon who's now a job that I wish I had, the Chief Impact Officer at Taco Bell. We actually recorded a podcast episode that's going to be coming out either this coming week or the next week with one of my friends, Bree, and we play a little game of like our favorite food or something, and we both love Taco Bell. So it's funny, it's continued on. Salem, you cannot take control of the show.
I will say I got to meet Cody's friend Bree. I got to host the show that day, and it was fun. I loved Bree, and I really hope she comes back. I hope she had fun with us.
Yeah, I think whenever we release her show, we'll have to have her back on for that Friday afterwards for the live.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. Do you think she'll do it with us?
Yeah, I think she will.
Ah, yes. I love her. She's really funny.
Can't wait for y'all to hear it.
She's also a former Disney employee, so we had a lot of fun with that, and Cody loves Disney. So it was really fun getting to talk to a former cast member as well, who's also understands Cody. And but it was really great is she and Cody have been friends for a really long time. So seeing you just relax a little bit and just have fun, it was like it was great. Everybody in the house heard about how fun the episode was after we were done recording.
Oh yeah, that's good. Chris says Nurse Matt says more nuts and less wiener. Got it. And then Quinn, I'm on a live mission to end the Taco Bell bottoming issues Discord. It's meat, lettuce, and shell. If anything, it's a bottom-friendly fast food. So here's the deal.
I've noticed I literally drinking a Taco Bell drink right now, and I just ate Taco Bell right before this.
So I agree with
totally
you,
fine.
Everybody talks about that. Everybody talks
I've never
about
actually had a problem with it.
Issue.
And
I don't know what that's not I don't know.
Yeah,
I've never,
if you're really actually having
problems,
maybe eat some oatmeal or throw some fiber in your coffee. And
I know,
maybe lay off your diet of cocaine and iced coffee and then wonder why you're shitting your pants.
Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't happen for some people and occasionally maybe sometimes, but in general it should not. I've never had that issue in all my
eating,
many years.
Food in general can cause that issue because it's a booty, you know.
I haven't had Taco Bell in a while. I need to have some Taco Bell soon. I'm really excited about the breakfast.
We usually have a burrito after our Friday lives.
Yeah, I do have a burrito, not from Taco Bell, but yeah. And I didn't even put this in here, but I believe it's on the 2nd, next Thursday, I believe. Taco Bell is releasing their chicken sandwich competitor. And I'm really excited about that. It's not necessarily a sandwich, it's chicken breast that looks really delicious and crunchy inside like this pita bread kind of situation. I don't know the details.
Okay.
I
know what we're going to do next Friday. We're going to get that and we're going to
taste test.
We'll have a taste test. Do you want to record that live? Maybe we shouldn't record it live. Things could go wrong.
We may have to get it and record it earlier in the day or something.
Yeah, that seems like that's a healthy plan. That seems like
otherwise we're gonna have food all over us and who knows. And again, everybody, thank you. We have a lot of people who just jumped in and joined us. We are
how many people are
towards
here?
The end. There are 7 people here now.
Wow. Well, yeah.
And we are getting towards the end, but again, we want to remind you, if you just jumped in, that we do this every Friday at 5:00. After this is over, you can watch the replay. There'll be audio versions on anywhere you can get your podcast. I would remind people, if you do listen to our podcast, to go leave a review and give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, because that's always a good thing. But if you just got,
it helps us get shared.
It does. People find out about us because Apple and Spotify are like, oh, people are actually listening to this now. We should maybe let people find it easier. But if you did just join us, some things you missed. We talked about new COVID booster. We talked about the Biden administration really moving out there to help with trans rights, maybe going up against some of these states. OnlyFans is going to allow sex again. I guess ComaFans is back. Tokyo Paralympics.
You know what? We would just have our own. Why go to Just for Fans? We would just I would just totally branch us out as literally Coma Fans, and go from there. And it can just be our platform, and we just manage it ourselves, and then we get all of our own royalties and everything. We don't have to dump off 20 to 30%. Quinn mentioned it earlier. The margins 20 to 30%, and I'm doing all the work. It's true, but there's not a lot of platforms to go through where you get all of those things, plus can market. So it kind of, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but you're literally between a rock and a hard place. And I'm really trying to not be funny. It's just the only thing I could think.
2 rocks in a hard place. We did talk about Matt's favorite story. If you missed it again, that a wiener is going to take 36 minutes off your life, but nuts.
So stay away from
lifespan.
Stay away from cis
Stay away
men.
from the wieners. And then of course, Little Nas X is the Taco Bell everything. I think
it's delicious.
So many people are giving Taco Bell Little Nas X. He's really becoming really popular with a lot of companies and corporations. And so, and he also spoke out recently this week because Tony Hawk was selling skateboards or something with his blood on it.
Yes.
And then people, he was like, well, people were upset with the blood in my shoes, but the Tony Hawk thing is fine.
So we're going to admit that you guys are mad about something else.
Should we also like sell stuff with blood in it? Like,
That's
remember
no.
Angelina Jolie
Yeah.
and Billy Bob Thornton, and they had a vial of each
Oh my
other's
god,
blood.
that was from like Cody. That was from like when you and I were in like high school.
Y'all, I want a vial of Matt's blood.
That might be the weirdest thing you've ever said to me. And I told you I thought, you know what? I've said a lot of things to you, and I don't think I've ever gone there. By the way, I have my blood type. Do you know my blood type is I'm A positive. Like,
after the whole Billy Bob Thornton blood vial thing, there was the whole thing where people thought she was dating her brother. Remember that period?
yes.
And the brother
yes,
did
I
look
do.
pretty hot. Yeah. So back in time, we've been talking about recently on the podcast how all of our when we talk about things, we're talking about things that maybe younger people don't even know about. Where they're like, "What is that? Billy Bob Thornton? Who is that?"
Who is that? I honestly haven't heard his name in a long time. I forgot honestly until you just reminded me that he existed.
I'm sorry.
Great.
One of the things that is coming back though, it's being released is Candyman.
Yes.
And so we're gonna let y'all see how we reacted to.
Yeah, we're gonna see how Cody reacted.
Trailer.
This is like the remake.
Candyman. The urban legend is, if you say his name 5 times while looking in the mirror, he appears in the reflection and kills you.
Who would do that?
So I've never seen any of I've never seen the original.
Who did that? You know what?
Everybody did it in elementary when I was.
Well, we're still alive.
It's like when we did it, did we actually think something was gonna happen?
Trina, you broke the door.
Okay, you never want to get stuck in a bathroom. I feel like that's just the worst.
This isn't funny.
So he, I guess, came through the toilet? I don't understand.
Neighborhood. Cabrini Green. It was the projects. I just moved in around the corner.
The old candy factory.
I'm an artist.
You look up a Candyman. He's the monster. It's part of this neighborhood.
Okay, Jordan Peele.
Here we go. I knew everyone both figured it out.
Okay, the feel of this, yes.
You should say his name. I dare you.
I love everything Jordan Peele does.
Candyman.
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 Mm-mm.
Thank you.
She knows.
Candyman.
You always listen to the black women. I don't know, like, why you would not.
Did anybody not see the first movie?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I think I made a mistake. I brought him back.
Candyman isn't real.
Something's happening to me.
He had a purpose for you, to be another one of his terrible stories.
I guess he found me.
I am the writing on the wall, the sweet smell of blood.
I love they're using Say My Name. How perfect. So we'll post that up on YouTube, and there's a lot more to that. We discuss it, and then Matt tells like a story involving Candyman or something like that.
I remember being in second grade and people talking about it, and some of the I went to a very old building. The school I went to is a very old building, and I remember them standing in front of the mirrors, like doing that, and my little ass was out of there because I just was, I was just kind of an easily spooked kid, but I loved horror movies even as a kid. I loved them, but I just didn't like reenacting parts of it. That was never my style. Never liked it. And I think some of the kids just thought it'd be really fun, and I was having none of it. I like my ass took right off, like, and it looks like that carried through.
I had never seen the original, and so Matt was his mind was blown.
Yeah, it
But
still is.
but that goes on a little bit more, so check that out on YouTube. We actually did post it on TikTok, so if you follow us on the TikTok at Tacoma Cast, go over there and watch it. Some clips over there and vote on it because we asked how many people are going to go see Candyman, and there was about right now there's 469 people who have watched us, Matt, over on TikTok, watched our
What?
reaction, and 63% of people said that they're going to go see Candyman, and then
So
38% said they're not.
Are we gonna like have to do? Damn it! Like, ugh.
We're everywhere. We're everywhere. But yeah. So if you're here, are y'all gonna see Candyman? What are your thoughts on it? Uh, I I'm not gonna go to the theaters to see it, so hopefully it's streaming somewhere soon because I'm not gonna go. I no. I've been way more
I'm
careful.
looking at this list. I can't see Keith loving the idea of it. I don't recall Chris loving scary movies. I feel like Quinn would see it. I feel like Quinn's up for a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like
I don't
Quinn
know who
would
else is
watch
here
it.
though. So
Yeah, I know.
like
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I'm loving this week is this show, and I talked about it last week. And said I was going to show it and mention it, and it's a show on HBO Max. It was originally on the DC streaming network, which now doesn't exist. They moved all that to HBO Max, and so it's called Titans, and it's based, on obviously the comics. And there's 3 seasons. The third season is currently airing. We watched the first 2 seasons like quickly, and now we're like caught up. And it's like waiting week to week is horrible. I just hate it. But here's a little preview of what the show is like and what I'm loving.
Who are you?
Everything led me here. To you. You're the boy from the circus.
You got no place to hide. And I'm feeling like a villain, got a hunger inside. Nowhere to hide from all of this.
Please. Can you help me?
Madness, madness.
Where's Batman? Fuck Batman.
There's something evil inside of me.
You're scared. I get it. But you can control it. You don't know what I've become.
Sometimes, when I feel the darkness, it feels good. My mom says there's no such thing as monsters.
I used to think that. I was wrong.
Madness, madness.
well, that's fun.
So yeah, that is on HBO Max. 3 seasons. It's a really good show. Dick Grayson is super cute. There's a lot of surprises that happen. I love it. I love the show. And there's also a sister show that I'll probably talk about later. It's called Doom Patrol. And it's also really, really good. Very good storytelling, I think. It's like you think of things that are DC's doing right, and this is something that they're actually doing right. There's a lot of good storytelling involved. You learn about each character. It's not always just about like fighting and beating everybody up and taking over the city and making it safe. You really get to know each character, and I think that's a really fun thing. And it's just a lot of fun. So I would recommend everybody check that out if you have HBO Max.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, it looks interesting. I mean, that's something I feel like I wouldn't mind watching, and I feel like David would love it. Nothing really has me talking this week because I've been so focused on trying to kind of find a new normal. So my program is Brennan Thwaites.
Yes.
Titillating.
Chris. Yes.
But it's 4 semesters, and I have Christmas off and I have summers off. And I don't have an option to even take summer classes, or I would, because I would like to be done sooner, but it's not happening. So I don't know if I'm going to have any interests that don't involve a stethoscope between now and Christmas, but I will keep you posted. I'm hoping to have a little more time before I, in a few weeks I'll have some time back to be dedicated to writing. I got to record a little bit with Clint for his podcast before school started. So you can hear me and Clint talk over there. We talked about some interesting things about different. I quizzed him on car terms and some like old school stuff to see, kind of where he was. The only thing that's had it actually talking is I'm still reading this book, Dr. Sleep. It's the sequel to The Shining. So, which I have read The Shining. And my goal has been when I sit down, I read one chapter and then I have to stop myself because I will just spend hours reading. And I don't have time to do that. But a nice 20, 30 minutes to disconnect, read, then do something that doesn't involve typing, thinking, anything, and I can just focus on somebody else's world.
Right.
But yeah.
Keith says you'll be doing nursing stuff and again making pumpkin rolls.
Yes.
That's what'll keep you busy.
Pretty much.
Too bad I can't
for
make it and send it. But again, we want to remind everybody you can check us out on all of our socials if you're not. I did see Chris is following us.
Don't watch the Dr. Sleep movie. Did not like it. I actually was not planning. I was on it, and I'm not sure if I'm loving the book. I'm not sure if I'm loving the book at all, but it's different. So I'm making myself read it because I did like The Shining. I did read the book. I read The Shining. I've read Salem's Lot. I've read several other Stephen King works along with seeing the movies. A little known fact, if you guys ever read, or it wasn't a book, it was just a movie, Maximum Overdrive from like the 80s. It was a mess. And Stephen King says it was a mess. It was done, I believe, during like kind of like the height of his, I believe it was his cocaine addiction. So it's, but some of the cast in it, like, one of the female leads, I believe she's the voice of Bart Simpson, like this is, and like, I think AC/DC is the background, is the music, and they actually make an appearance in the movie. Like this movie is like all over the place. But it's kind of like a fun, like Stephen King horror movie. But definitely was not a book, because his books are very involved if you've ever read one. The characters are always fully realized, and you don't know who's going to make it to the end of this book, and you don't know if it's going to be a happy ending, an ending, a sad ending. I mean, did you ever see Carrie?
Yes.
Did you see the old and the new one, or just the new one?
Both.
Right. That movie, like, I saw the unrated. Wow. It was the unrated new one. Wow. A lot messy. Very messy. I have to say, the people most talented at taking out teenagers between Stephen King and Arlstein. Damn. It still actually kind of had me thinking was the Fear Street saga. The trilogy they did. I looked to see if nothing's posted as far as plans for more stuff, but I would love for them to, because that was all original material, kind of based loosely out of Stephen Arlstein's lore. But the rest of it was the producers and the writers. Like they wrote everything. And Arlstein loved it and said they really got the energy and the feel of how he does things. And I would totally agree with that. So I would love to see like more of that kind of brought to life, because it was really interesting. But yeah, I was kind of reflecting on that. Excuse me. I was thinking on that the other day. And then of course I read a chapter of Dr. Sleep the other morning, and I was like, okay, well, that was that. I did Monday. and I have not gotten there yet. I have to go back to it. So
Well,
here we are.
Here we are. We do want to remind everybody, again, I saw Chris is following us on TikTok. Thank you, Chris. But you can follow us on all of our social media channels. We're like everywhere. You can get us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, on TikTok. And there's all of our @. Most of them are the ComaCast, and then Facebook is Coma Podcast. So that's easy to know. Just go to the ComaCast on all of those things. And you
I
can
really
check
like
us
the
out.
update, Cody. Like the updates and so Cody does these things. He tries out different things and he comes up with all of it. And sometimes I get a preview of it. But when we move to this program, it's not possible for Cody to preview it until we're literally on. And so which is really fun for me, honestly, because to me it's totally different. So Cody's like, yeah, I did this like days ago, but for me it's like shiny and new. And I'm like, oh, Cody, like you're so good at this. I love it. I love the look. And you're like, okay, that's cute.
Salem, you're back again. Are you wanting to say goodbye? Here, let's let everybody tell you goodbye. You have to look at the camera.
He just looked at you.
Okay.
He
Well, everybody,
almost
we
looks
think
like he's not real for a second, like the
I
way
know.
like the camera kind of froze.
Just like stuffed animal.
Yeah.
We thank all of we thank all of you for joining us for another episode here live. Again, every Friday at 5 o'clock we do this. We enjoy the conversation with all of you. We had a good conversation today, and we learned a lot about Matt's nursing school. We'll continue having that with our Matt checkups.
I'm sure every week you guys will hear something as like I look more and more stressed. I'm sure we'll have to do like at the end of December, like we're prepping up for like the end of the year at like kind of an end of the year recap. We show me from like now until like how I progressively look horrible, more stressed.
We'll just take screenshots each time.
Yeah.
Of the thing. Keith says, thanks guys, have a great weekend. I know. And of course, new episode on Wednesday. Be sure it'll be on YouTube if you want to watch the video version, and then the audio version of course will be available on Wednesday, and then of course we'll be back here on Friday. So lots to look forward to, and we hope all of you have a great weekend. I think we're going to go to the beach tomorrow again. It's like it'll be our third weekend in a row.
Enjoy it while you can. I think it's starting to it's finally below like 100 here, and we're all just like relieved.
You're on
like
the downturn.
Yeah, well, a storm ran along the side of San Antonio today, so it didn't storm much at our house, like hardly at all. We got some thunder, but like it spit rain for a minute. But it dropped the temperature down to 83, but cloudy with a breeze. So cloudy 83 with a breeze is actually very comfortable. It's very different than sun's out burning your skin 83. So it was like this, oh, yes.
Yes, I always loved those times. I remember them fondly. Now it's just like it cools down like by 7 o'clock. It's nice and cool here.
I'm very jealous.
Chris says, OMG, it's only getting hotter here in Florida and the humidity is even worse.
Oh, Chris also did text me and tell me that he was going to see Candyman. His brother had called and kind of like threw him off. So he lives for scary movies, which I'm like, how did I not know that? I don't think I've ever. Oh, wait, I did see a movie with Chris. I got roped into seeing something at the Minions movie with, I think, an old coworker, and they were annoying. So Chris and I got kind of drunk because it was a theater you could drink in Orlando. I think it was in the Riverwalk. No, City Walk. Wow, I've been like away from Orlando for a while.
I was going to say, you're at the Riverwalk.
Yeah, I live at the Riverwalk is here in San Antonio. Welcome to Texas, y'all. Yeah, Chris and I just kind of got hammered during the Minions, and I think that's the only movie we've seen in theaters. I did watch Shrek at his house one night, and I think also got kind of drunk.
Keith is outside your.
I love Shrek.
Keith is outside your window, Matt.
Yeah, no, he's in the backyard. He likes to hang out in the backyard and relax, especially now when the breezes are in and it's nice and cool. We keep Keith. Yeah.
You keep him outside. Oh my goodness.
Everybody should keep a Keith outside. Come on. Have you seen his arms?
Keith, is Matt really actually logistically difficult to deal with on a daily basis? Chris says, come to my house and let's watch a movie and get drunk. LOL. It's always a good time at my house. Always a good time. I've heard that about Matt as well. It's always a good time at Matt's house. Keith is housebroken. It's always a good time at Matt's house. The thing is,
totally.
am I going to lose some of the years of my life, or am I going to gain some of the years of my life at your house? That's the question, right, everybody?
Oh, God, that's really funny.
We will leave it at that, everybody. And we hope you have a great weekend. And we will see you next Friday at 5 o'clock. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See y'all. Yeah, see y'all Friday. Wow, weird.